file handling. How to, there is one more is there, simple topic. How to connect to the database through Java code. File handling we will see next week. How to connect to the database. You have a JDBC, no? Let's see. So how to connect to the database? You have database is part of our application, right? So database is different, application server is different, web server is different. These are all the different components in our web application. So how you can connect to the database and fetch the data through Java code. So this is the one you have to use, JDBC API. So what is Java JDBC API? So it's a Java API. API means application programming interface, which connect and execute your SQL queries with the database. So why you need to execute SQL queries? To fetch the data from the tables. Database tables. Tables fill the data, right? Basically, database contains the data. But database, which has many tables inside you have arranged the data in the rows and columns, right? So from table, you can get the data by executing this SQL queries. How you can execute this SQL queries? That's a very important. So JDBC API uses a JDBC drivers to connect with the database. So we have, why we need to use JDBC? Before JDBC, there was a ODBC API, so which was used to connect to the database and execute your SQL queries. But so ODBC API was designed by C programming language, which is a platform dependent. Now we are getting a lot of databases. So many databases we are getting. So you have Oracle database, Microsoft SQL Server, Postgres, right? So many databases are there in the market. So to connect to the different databases, you need one API, that's enough. So now Java is platform independent. So you don't need to change. So that's why ODBC is completely stopped and people start using JDBC API. So that is completely written in the Java. So which is not going to change for database to database. You don't need to change anything. So that's why people are preferring JDBC API. So API is nothing but it just has the functions written inside that API, which do some action, which goes and talk to the different system. That's it will communicate between two different systems. That's the API means. So I'm going to discuss API in the API testing, but what is the API? What it will do is, so API is basically a function which contains the logic, what it has to do. So that's the API means. So like that, so many APIs will be written by the developers. There are different drivers will be there. JDBC, ODBC bridge driver, native API driver, network protocol driver, theme driver. So let's come back directly to the code. How you can connect to the database? What are the steps are there? There are 4 steps, simple steps. First, load the driver. Between your database and Java code, first load the driver. The driver will act as a bridge between your Java code and your database. So this driver will connect the Java code and database. So that's the first, you have to load the driver. First step. To load the driver, you need to use this code, class.forName method you have to use. In this, you have to supply your database driver. So for Oracle database, this is the driver type. Only driver will change, but this code is fixed. Second step, once you load the driver, then connect to the database. So to connect to the database, you have to use connection interface con equal to driver manager dot get connection URL comma username and password. You have to give get connection method. When you are calling, you have to give the database URL and what is the username and what is the password you have to provide. So every database has a username, password, and some descriptor URL will be there. So that URL you have to pass, then username, password, you give it. Then this is the URL. So JDBC colon. This is the descriptor. JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 1521 is the port. URL is the SID name, system identification name. That means a database name. And localhost means why I'm giving localhost. Always it won't be a localhost. If the database is installed on this machine, then I have to give localhost. If the database is in a different machine, you have to give that machine IP address here. Okay, so that's the how to connect to that. Then third statement, create a statement on this connection. For this connection, you create a statement. So statement interface is equal to connection.create statement. Then fetch the results from this statement. So result set interface res equal to sk.execute query. And here, this is the SQL queries. Select a star from EMP. EMP is a table name. Any table, this is a table, you have to give table. So that means you are selecting all the rows and columns from this table. So you have to give SQL queries here. Basically, this is the SQL sample query, one query I'm giving, but you can write your own queries. That's the 4 steps you have to follow. And this is the entire, so for each step, what is the class, what is the method, what is the interface you're using. For a first step, class, and for name method you're using, and driver type you have to pass, no interface. Second step, driver manager class, get connection method, and connection interface you have to use. So third step, no class, create statement method, and 3 interfaces are there: statement, prepared statement, callable statement you can use. Any of them you can use. And fourth step, no class, execute query method you can use, and you can pass the statements, and result set interface you have to use. These are the interfaces: correction, statement interface, prepared statement interface, callable statement interface, and result set interface. The interfaces I told you already is very, very important. So what is the difference between a statement, prepared statement, callable statement? So let's understand. So to execute a simple SQL queries, you can use statement interface. So prepared statement, when you can use? Prepared statement you can use, it will help to prevent the SQL injection attacks. So this is hackers trying to get the access of your database. Such kind of scenarios, this prepared statement if used, it will automatically escape all the special characters. Basically, hackers will give special characters while attacking. So try to hack the database. So that you can avoid with this prepared statement if used. Prepared statement allows to execute a dynamic SQL queries. They basically can pass the input parameters. So that's the prepared statement. Callable statement is used to execute a stored procedures. So that's here is the complete code where this all these interfaces classes available in java.sql package. That's why I'm importing that. So java.sql.connection, java.sql.driver manager, java.sql.prepared statement, java.sql.result set, java.sql.sql exception class, so java.util.properties class. So I'm creating object here, properties class also, to store username and password. This is the properties prop equal to new properties props.set property method. I'm setting the username, this one, password tiger. So there's a Oracle default username passwords. You can change username passwords for while creating the database. And then say try catch blocks I'm using. First load the driver, then connect to the database, give the SQL query, and prepared statement I'm using, pre-statement connection.prepared statement, execute this SQL query, pre-statement.execute query, and that will give the result. Here the data will be there. So then iterate that with the while loop, while parenthesis result dot next method. It will go to next column, next column, next column. I want to get a data, so date from this dual table, current date. So I'm giving result dot get string current day. So you will get all the current day value for this result, whatever the data is there, table data. So that data it will print for you. You can get or you can print or whatever. It one by one it will iterate. So then see this, the try block is ending, catch block, SQL exception, e dot print stack trace. Then finally con dot close, result dot close. So I'm closing. That's what I told you. Finally block advantage. You can close the database connections. See, finally block I'm using. First we have used try catch. So try block is ending here, then catch block. Catch block after I'm using finally block. Finally block inside what we am putting? I'm closing the connections, database connections. Otherwise, if your test case, your database connection code is failed and database is created, but connection is established. Again, one more time you are running. So unnecessary, one more time it will create in the memory connection. So to stop all this, you close here. So finally block code always executes, right? So even the failure happens in these areas anywhere. So database connection will close and restore again start from the scratch. So that's why the memory won't be wasted. Okay, that's the reason why you need to use finally block. So database connections you can close. So this is a code, complete code you can use directly wherever you want. This entire code, write in the method. Okay, write in the method, one method. But here I have written in the main method. But don't write in the main method. You create your own method and get the connection, and you can use wherever you want. Okay, so that's the how to connect to the database. Yeah, so that's all for the day, and so next week only 2